Hey guys, what's up? Val Delp here. So I wanted to share a little bit of a story with you guys. And in light of everything that's been going on with this election and all of the negativity and hate and fear in this country right now, I thought it was really important to get across the message that we all have control over how we are putting feelings and emotions out there into the world. And it's something that a lot of people maybe don't realize about themselves. They don't realize that as humans, we have the ability to control what we are putting out there into the universe. And it's something that it took me a long time to realize as well. And I want to share kind of a background story on me and something that I had gone through in my life that helped me to realize this and helped me to be a much more positive person and have a positive outlook on things and be able to short to bring that positivity to my daily actions in hopes that people who see this will maybe think about changing the way that they're thinking and feeling, and how it affects everyone else around them. So, those of you that know me from elementary school, middle school, high school, my 20s, whatever, may or may not know this. I don't know. I've always been told that I'm very good at hiding the way that I'm feeling on the inside, as far as like nervousness and feeling upset. That when I tell someone later that I felt that way, they had no idea. So I don't know if this is something that was transparent or not. But as a kid, as a teenager especially, I struggled a lot with social anxiety and feeling a lot of turmoil on the inside, and feeling as though I couldn't really connect with anyone, or almost as though I didn't deserve to have a real connection with people. And of course, I had a close group of friends, but it was getting outside of that circle that I just felt like I wasn't able to reach out to people, and I wasn't able to be myself, or I didn't really have a sense of self. And particularly in relationships with men, that was where I really struggled a lot, and I went through this really long period of time through my teens into about my mid 20s, where I just felt that I was never going to find someone who I could feel comfortable with, or that I could open myself up to, or who I was deserving of, to be honest. I really had a lot of low self esteem in that area, and just felt as though I wasn't deserving of being loved. And it wasn't until I met this one man, and it was on one of those online dating sites, and he was very into me, and things progressed very quickly. And to be honest, I was so excited by that it blindsided me, to a lot of issues in this relationship. And just to make a long story short, things progressed very quickly. Within about 6 months' time, we were living together, and he was bringing up the topic of getting married. And I don't know when the exact turning point was in that relationship, or what specifically made things start going on a downward spiral. But basically, at some point, he started changing and started being less attentive. And it came to a head point one day, and he basically told me that his heart just wasn't in it anymore. And I took it really hard, because it was just in my mind another confirmation of, I'm not good enough to be in this relationship. I'm not able to be loved by anyone. And it was a good year, I would say, of really, really struggling with what had happened and not understanding it, and really feeling like everything was my fault, and that that again, I just wasn't deserving of someone to love me. And I spent a lot of time on social media and crying to people. And I don't know, it was as though I was looking for some sort of person to fill that void for me. Um, but, and I was looking for sympathy, and I was looking for love, and I was looking for help. And in fact, it kind of had the opposite effect. I think people started to get sick of my very depressing posts, and always going back to that topic of, I don't understand why he left, and all that. And it kind of had the opposite effect, and I feel as though I was pushing a lot of people away. But what I didn't understand at the time was that I was choosing to dwell in those negative emotions. I would come home from work every day and literally mope around the house and literally watch sad movies and listen to sad music. And it would just have this magnifying effect to the point where I was in tears. I would do the same thing at work. I mean, whenever there was no one else in the room, I would go in the closet and cry, and then I would come out and put on a smiling face. So honestly, I don't know how much people really saw how I was feeling inside, because again, I got very good at kind of masking how I felt. It was so bad at sometimes that I even considered going to talk to a psychologist. Again, feeling as though there was something wrong with me. I considered going to a doctor to see if I could get a depression medication. It was a really rough time in my life. And then I sort of had this turning point, and I wish that I could remember who recommended this to me, because I honestly owe them an enormous thank you. But I'm sorry, I don't really talk about this much, so it does get a little bit emotional sometimes. But someone recommended that I watch this movie called The Secret. And if you're in a rough spot in your life right now, I recommend that you get this movie, because it was like this enormous light bulb that went off in my head, a concept that I just never really thought about or realized. It talks about how every emotion and feeling that we have is almost like this energy source that we're putting out there into the world. Okay? That if you are constantly having these negative thoughts and feelings, a lot of your actions are also reflecting those negative thoughts and feelings. And then those negative actions are bringing negative things into your life. But the opposite is true. That if you change your mindset and start to see positive things and think positive thoughts, you start having positive actions and creating positive things for yourself. And the more I thought about it, and I watched it a couple of times because I just really was kind of inspired or intrigued by the thought. And I was like, okay, this makes a lot of sense. I really need to do something, because what I'm doing is not working. Holding all this inside of me is not working. It's causing me to be miserable at work. It's causing me to go out and drink more than I should and make bad decisions. And it was causing me, I don't know, just to overeat and to not have any motivation. It was a lot of things, right? So I watched a few times, and then I decided that I was going to do an experiment. What if for one day I try to just take all the negative thoughts out and think about some ways that I can turn things around. Okay. And what's really, really bizarre about this is that same day I was in my car driving home from work, and I heard this advertisement on the radio about this group called Events and Adventures. Okay. And it was this group that was designed to get, single people together. There's a whole slew of different activities that you could do, and it was a way to get to meet people and to do some fun things. And so I was like, you know what? This sounds like a good opportunity. Maybe I can meet someone. I'll get to do some things that I've always wanted to do. And I was like, all right, let's do this. So I signed up. I literally wrote out this like bucket list of things that I wanted to accomplish in the next 10 years. And some of those things were just little things like skydiving, which I did. Go to Australia. I don't know. There was just a whole list of things. And while I didn't meet anyone special in this group, it started to get me in a more positive mindset. I started meeting people, from different backgrounds, and I was starting to do these things that I always thought I wanted to do and I would never have the balls to do. And it, like I said, it just started the ball rolling on a lot of things. So in my personal life, now I felt a little bit more confident. I made a whole new group of friends and I started hanging out with them a lot more. And but there was still this piece of my life that wasn't right yet. I still didn't enjoy my job. So that was still a negative force in my life. And then I decided one day, after a particularly bad day at work, that I needed to change something on that front too. So I had a day off and I started researching colleges and careers. And I ended up enrolling in a technical school for a business degree. And I found out they had night classes. So it was perfect because I could still work my job, but I could go be taking night classes and starting working towards something else that I really would be happier with. So I continued doing that. It was really rough for a while just with balancing work, school, and personal life. But I was still building this confidence and I was feeling happier and I was feeling as though I was working towards something. And I was I was about halfway through the coursework for this degree. And I decided one day, again, after a bad day at work, you know what? What harm is it going to do for me to put some feelers out there and see if maybe I can start getting some experience, even if it's not paid? What if, I at least start looking in that direction? So I did that, and I ended up getting an interview for Prudential, where I currently work full time. And they hired me, and the funny part of the story is that the person who hired me and interviewed me is now my husband. So again, it was just like this whole snowball effect. It just started out with watching that movie and getting myself into this mindset of I have the power to change things that don't feel right about me. I have the power to change my attitude and how that reflects things in the environment around me. And that honestly changed my entire life. I mean, from that point, which was now almost 5 years ago, to today, I'm a completely different person. I have a much more positive outlook on life. I understand how my feelings can project onto others, and I've learned to see the positive in things instead of dwelling on the negative. Now, I also now in the last 2 years became even more aware. And every day I'm learning a little bit more about how I'm feeling and how I can help others to feel more positive. But 2 years ago, I was approached about becoming a coach for Beachbody. And I thought at the time it was really just a way for me to hold myself accountable to my health and fitness goals. At the time, my husband and I, we were about to get married in a few months, and so we needed something to hold us accountable to get fit for our wedding. It was a goal that we had, but it's become so much more than that for me. A big part of what we do as coaches is we're taught to always be personally developing ourselves. So I listen to a lot of inspirational podcasts and things to give me a lot of insight into how I'm feeling and how I can improve that and how I can change other people's minds. So what I want you guys to take away from this is a couple of things. One, with everything that's going on with with the election, and I know some people are happy and some people are sad, some people are angry, some people are scared. We need to come together. We need to realize that all of those fears and anger and everything that we are putting out there is going to affect everyone else around us. Okay? It is, as humans, we feed off of emotion from people that we're close to. I think that this world and this country specifically would be a much better place if we were able to understand that about ourselves and try to reduce the negativity within ourselves. And that I think that would do a lot to reduce, the hatred that so many people feel and the fear that so many people feel. If we were able to focus on the positive things in our everyday life, and whether that's something as simple as, I have shelter, or I have food that I can put on the table every day, or I have clean clothes to wear. I have family that loves me. All of those things are so overlooked and so taken for granted, and those are all important things to our daily lives, and I think we need to take time to really understand that and realize that, and love the people that are around us and just focus on that. you know Spend a little bit more time doing something nice for your coworkers, for your neighbors, for your own family. That's something that we should be focusing on, and not so much all of this negativity and hate that's put out there. So hopefully you guys took something away from this, from my story. But like I said, I've learned a lot over the years, and I feel like I've grown so much as a person. And I wanted to share that with you because I want you to understand it's possible. No matter where you come from, what has happened to you in your life, you have the power to change it. Okay? And I feel like so many people get stuck in their ways and they just think, woe is me, and this is how it's going to be, and it's never going to get better. But it can. And it all starts with you. And it all starts with how you feel and what you're thinking in here. Okay? So I hope you guys take something away from this and do something to change if you're not happy with where you are. It all starts with you. So, all right, guys. Have a great day.